Hello, my name is Samantha Cartland and I'm Assistant Headteacher. My main responsibilities include pastoral, attendance, behaviour, and I'm also a Deputy Safeguarding Lead. It's a role that I absolutely love and I've been in for 2 years. And so for the last 2 years it's been a really rapid, quickly changing environment within our school. It's been a school where we were making very quick changes in order to improve outcomes for students but also their experience in school. I was beginning to create a newly formed team. We were a newly formed leadership team and everything was going really, really well. So within a line management meeting, the head teacher suggested that I embarked on a 12-session coaching programme with Kath. And at the time it was because of the fact that me and another assistant head were very new in the leadership role, and obviously we've made so much change, but it was how we were going to sustain that moving forward, and also how are we being supported as new senior leaders. Now, during my sessions with Kath, I've had the opportunity to work with her one-to-one. We had phone coaching sessions, there's then been video feedback and the opportunity for other voiceover feedback to be sent through to me. Thousands of WhatsApp messages. I love a WhatsApp message, and obviously the opportunity to message Kath throughout the day sometimes to share my experiences, share my joys, the quick wins that I've had along the way. But also I had the opportunity to take part in a whole team building day and also really reflection on our team with the whole of the leadership team this year. So what did I really want to improve? I probably entered into the coaching process really naive, if I'm honest. I was deeply frustrated that I had a clear vision in my head and nobody else seemed to be following the same pathway as me. It felt as though every time I tried to do something there was a blocker in the way, and I probably spent too long worrying about how people were perceiving me and the way in which I worked, and worrying that people didn't think I was very good at my job. And alongside that, I was spending too long working. My work-life balance was totally unbalanced. It basically meant that I was working all night, early mornings, not sleeping, not looking after myself, and I had 2 children that were very much kind of trying to slot in between work and everything else that there was to do, which isn't a way to live our life. And so Kath and I spent a long time at the beginning looking at actually what my day looked like, and actually where did I lose time and what began to absorb the day, because I could go in with a 5-period day of time to achieve things, and actually what I then found was that I achieved nothing and I was going home and doing all of the work that I thought I would achieve in school. So we began to think about actually tallying up everything that I did during a day so I could work out where the blocks were, and actually how quickly you realise that one person would come and see you 5 times and that would then absorb the time, and actually what change you could do in order to move that forward. We spent a long time having a conversation towards the end about my values, and this is probably the biggest learn for me, is that we thought about actually what values do I have and what is important to me in terms of my life and going to work. Of course, making a difference. I don't think anyone goes into education without wanting to make a difference to somebody, but that clearly came up as one of my highest values. But also it was the idea of challenge, it was the idea of creativity and being imaginative. And it was a real eye-opener, because at that point I was like, okay, these are all my values and this is the role I'm in. And I began to evaluate, okay, is that the right role for me? And it's really interesting that I thought to myself, actually, they felt miles apart, but they really weren't. That it was like, okay, it's about how I approach my role that we need to think differently about. So is there ways with behaviour that I can be creative? Is there a way that I could create a visual somewhere? Is there the way that I could really challenge myself to achieve certain things that would then begin to give me my values? And I then began to branch out into transition and virtual transition during school closures, and all of a sudden I found this area that I loved. All of a sudden I found a virtual world where I spent ages on Zoom communicating with 50, 60, 70, 80 parents, and all of a sudden I then realised what I really loved about my job, and it kind of gave me that whole kind of awakening where I had spent a long time thinking, okay, I don't really necessarily like X, Y and Z, but then all of a sudden I was continually finding the positives in my role. And I think the biggest impact for me is that I've got a new sense of confidence is that I don't spend my whole time thinking that everyone thinks I'm not good at my job, that I'm not working hard enough, that if I don't do something, or if I voice my opinion and I demonstrate a sense of vulnerability to others, it's not necessarily saying I'm weak. It's basically about saying I'm a human being and you are a human being and we're all in this together, but how can we make it work for everybody? And I think that's one of the biggest things that I take forward with me. It's about how I present myself moving forward, and that I'm a human, I have emotions, and actually sometimes we need to show that, obviously, while we're at work as well as at home. So if you're thinking about going for coaching, and even if you're not thinking it through, as I totally did at the beginning, I would say go for it, because at the end of the day, it is absolutely life-changing. This is about small changes and small conversations, and at times things that I didn't even know that I was thinking about, but clearly I was, really making a difference for you, possibly your family, and all of the children that you're working with in a school. And I don't think anybody could turn around and say that they didn't want to make a difference in any of those areas.